You know, it doesn't have to be intense and heavy. And the other thing is, once again, with both of these, the news and the blog, none of us have time a lot of times to do a lot of Facebook, a lot of website, a lot of Instagram, whatever you guys use. Use it across the board. Take one thing, one story, one whatever, adapt it a little bit, because you're not going to have them be exactly the same on every platform. Adapt them a little bit and use them across the board. Again, if you get something in your direct mail package that you think is really good, I'll tell you what I have done that is so simple. I don't know if you guys do impact reports where you put your statistics for the year, or screenshots are a great way to put things on Facebook. Nothing simpler. If you've put something out or you've gotten something in direct mail and you have like a web version or something that you have online, screenshot the part you want and use it on Facebook, use it on Instagram. Super easy, super quick. So, hope I'm not telling you guys stuff you already know, but it's just stuff I've learned.
What is say 20 to 30, what are they using? Instagram, TikTok? I mean,
our donor base at this point is the big daddy of Facebook. I mean,
my people are much older, and I mean, we can tell. We get checks.
Oh, I know.
Checks.
Yeah.
You know, so we're trying to reach young people. So I try to every day do Facebook and an Instagram.
Yes, yes. I do that too.
Go on TikTok.
Do you do ViewSpark?
Pardon?
Do you do ViewSpark?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I have not yet.
You have to talk to Jeff about that. And that's another thing, though. Like, I love VSpark.
Yeah.
But you have to use it. If you don't use it, don't get it. If you don't think you're going to use it on a routine basis, then don't get it. But I like ViewSpark a lot, and I think it's a really useful tool.
Now, isn't that the email?
It's that it texts or emails, and you can do like a 1 minute with some copy, and it can be very compelling, you know. And so I recommend it. I'm just saying, be sure you're going to use it.
I just try to hit them all.
Well, and so I think, like I said, for our constituency, our age category, which is still older people, and yes, I agree, we need to be attracting younger people. I'm an Instagrammer. I'm an older people, but I like Instagram. I'm not a huge Facebook user, but our constituency is. So I do recommend Facebook and Instagram. Twitter. The only value of Twitter, in my opinion, because most of our folks don't use it, is I'll tell you who does, and that's the news media. Yeah. So putting things on Twitter needs to be specifically directed to messaging that you think the news media might pick up. Yeah, that's the best use for that.
Like Doug Shaw, because we're just venturing into a digital campaign with them. Uh-huh. So that whole thing is every icon. So you give people the option of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ViewSpark, all of it. Put it all up there, because somebody who's reading that is going to click on one or the other. They're going to access it.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Choice.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it if you have the bandwidth to handle it. I mean, that's the thing. Here's where I am right now. This is for people who are trying to get the touch points they need within the context of what they can handle at any given time. I totally agree with that. But what I'm saying is for people who they're just trying to reach out and do what they can do within the context of their staffing and that kind of thing. Facebook and Instagram really are your best.
And I never considered it until I was told, but on all my posts I add our website too. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't doing it in the beginning, and I can tell the difference now. But is it bad to have multiple posts in one day? Is that overkill? Because I have like informative, like we have Edna coming on Monday. I had our concert every day and up until the concert, and then I had either a thank you or we need this. So
I think here's what I would say. There are different times a year and different times for different things. So Shelter Casey has a big party for the homeless. And so during that day and days before, all kinds of stuff are going on. So it's almost like you do this sort of almost live thing and you post a lot because people want to see what's going on.
That's a ramp up.
Yeah, and on the day of, you know, videos and all of that. I would say during the week, I think you'll burn people out if you do too much of that.
Well, because some people, I mean, you know the popular times, you know, 10 a.m. for some, noon, 5, 7.
Right.
So I kind of, I do it at the popular times, but I figure there's different people. There's different people looking at 10 that are going to look at 7, you know.
Well, the other thing is to make sure that if you are doing that, make sure your content is something that they really want to see. One thing I see a lot is people putting up so many memes and quotes and pictures. That's not really what people want to see. I mean, because they feel like they have to check a box. Yeah, we read this thing that says we need to do this much posting on Facebook. Consistency, absolutely. You need to have a consistent content. And it's really good to have a good calendar of content. So you can work ahead and so it doesn't overwhelm you and you're going, oh man, another Facebook, what am I going to put up there? Have a content plan. But I would say unless you are sure that it is valuable content for your audience, you're going to wear them out. So I think it depends on your season. Okay, now we're going to get into a little bit of just real simple navigation. I was really, really surprised to see how many people don't have a front, present, brightly colored, pervasive donate button on their page. Nobody, when they want to give a gift, wants to have to figure out where that donate button is. It should not be under ways to get involved. It should not be in the lineup with everything else in the same font, you know, without being singled out somewhere where people can access it quickly and obviously. And there are a lot of really good websites where they just don't have that front and present. That's a really important piece of the pie. Volunteers the same way. Oh gosh, I think I have a picture of something that I want to show you. I do. So, this is a rescue mission that, this one kind of blew me out of the water a little bit. This is the top of fold of their website. I'm a new person. I just came into this area. I'm looking for someone to donate to. I don't know anything about this mission. And on their banner is Columbus Rescue Mission on the move to new location, praise the Lord. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do. I don't have any inspiration from knowing them. I don't know the history of them moving into a new building. I get what they think they're trying to do, but they're speaking to one audience and one audience only. Make sure, you got to make sure you're speaking to multiple audiences. Then you look and you see, where's the only donate on their page? Same size, same font, same color, same everything. And then here was the other piece I wanted to talk about. Guess where, oh, I didn't mean to show you. Guess where their volunteer button is? Which main menu drop down would it be under? There's no get involved.
Something mission, maybe? I can't read it.
People at the mission. I went on here because I was looking for volunteer buttons and it's under people at the mission. I personally, and you may not have room for it, I totally get that because you don't want to have 5 million main menu tabs. But I personally, if you have room, your volunteer button should not be under get involved. It shouldn't be under anything. It should be volunteer. Because how do you get new donors? You get volunteers engaged, particularly major donors, by the way. Major donors usually come through the process of first being engaged, interested in your organization, taking a tour, whatever, then volunteering, serving dinner, or becoming involved in some other volunteer project. Then they become enamored by your organization and eventually become a donor. So your volunteers are way more important than, I mean, their volunteering saves you a lot of money and gives you a lot of visibility, but it also is your route with a lot of people to a really a super volunteer donor. And so be sure they're not having to figure out how to get there.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I don't want to take a lot of time, 'cause it's probably not about this really, but do a lot of missions allow halfway house, we call them RTF folks, to volunteer?
Like community service?
Yes.
What about you guys? You,
I just wondered if you
you
knew
do or
if
you
any
don't?
do. We do.
We don't. We do, yeah.
Well, because I'm stopping them serving meals, because I want the donors that, to see that, and I'm going to have them help at the store, the donation center, but I think sometimes am I filling a spot that somebody else can fill that would give us money and help out financially? I just wondered if other people do.
Now, most of the ones I've been working with and have worked with in the past do not. There's just a lot of ramifications to that. And then you've got the whole thing of, I know you guys probably have codes of conduct for your volunteers and that kind of thing. You put yourself in, I believe you put yourself in a bit of a precarious situation when you do community service, so I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I do like because sometimes we have get involved on our website, but as a volunteer, like you said, you don't want to make it exhausting to try to find how to volunteer. So I think that's a great idea. We just started a care award on our course.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of ways to make that stand out too.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. I remember that. It was a little confusing on there because it says volunteer on the main menu.
Right.
And then what pops up underneath is care award, and that confused me a little. There might be a better way to do that than to have it be a part of the submenu.
Okay.
Maybe something on your homepage that isn't in the menu but is highlighted on your homepage. Maybe something like that with a visual with it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that'll get you a lot more attention to it if you do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was afraid this was going to be too short, and that's how mouthy I am. It's not too short. Financial transparency. Because I'm a grant writer, and because I've been an executive director of a mission, a rescue mission, financial transparency, I found, like I said, 9 rescue missions within the GRMF who do not have direct financial information available on their website.
So I have the link to Charity Navigator that goes, is that good enough, or you think I need to?
If, because here's what is happening with the people who do have that link. If you don't tell people you have that link, they're not going to know it. And
Right at the bottom of every page. I mean,
right, and that is not enough. So here's what I'm saying. And I'll show you a picture of this. Of a good example. If it will go back where I want it to go. We'll give it a second. Try it this way. Well, we'll talk about it. So this is Shelter KC, under About, we have financials, right? So you click financials, and it has a paragraph about the financials, and it has a link to our memberships and credentials. It also has a link very clearly delineated that says, if you would like to know more about our finances, click here, and it goes to, and I know everybody doesn't have this, Charity Navigator would work. to ECFA, to Evangelical Council, because all you gotta do is click on that and your
Your
financials
financials are right there.
are right there. If they need more, then yes, they call the finance office if they want a full audit, that kind of thing. But that puts it out there front and center. We have financial credibility, and on ECFA, and I think on Charity Navigator, yeah, too. You can do a year over year. There's a tab for year over year. But you got to tell them. So if you put it just at the bottom of the page, and I'm looking at the top of the page, and I am a program manager for the Sunderland Foundation, and I look under there, and I don't see anything about financials, I don't want to scramble around trying to figure that out. You want to have it front and center that we are transparent about our financials. One of the things I saw in one of the best websites, I mean, it's a good website for one of the rescue missions here. When you click on financials, you go to a page that says, if you want our financials, call this number. I'll pass you by. I'll just pass you by. I don't want to have to ring through the front desk and then figure out who to talk to and then figure out how to get the financials and all of that. I want to know that you've got them front and center, that I can see them, and with a click of the button. That is super important. So if you're not highlighting or having some very direct way, I saw another one where they have the icons at the bottom of the page, but it didn't click to anywhere. So just those financials are really important. Think about major donors, you know, who you're reaching out. You've got a capital campaign going on, and you know that you want to reach out to some of your major donors, and they want to go on your website, make sure you're credible, and then they want to click directly to some kind of financial credibility. And of course, GuideStar is there too. Only trouble with GuideStar, it's free, but you have to sign up. You have to register. So that's not one I love GuideStar, but unless people are really serious, they're not going to register on GuideStar to be able to look at your financials. So Charity Navigator, and if you're a member of ECFA, those are two. But don't make people guess. Make sure that you've put it somewhere that those are available top of mind. I think that's really important. Huh?
It should be kept up.
And should be, oh, you just caught another one. Yes. Yeah. So the last one on there is 2020. What happened in 2021, you know? Yeah, definitely. So, and we're about to the end here and about to run out of time anyway, but story. Back to story. If you see this was on a website. Beautiful new building. Really happy for them. Says absolutely nothing to me. Not compelling, not interesting. I didn't have this as stock. I didn't have a picture of, if there had been this picture with some sort of imagery that said, this is about living people who are going to be changed because you gave to this building, that's going to speak a lot more loudly than just a blank building across a parking lot. So always tell a story, whatever you do. And this is another one, by the way. In the hierarchy of your main menu, if you have room without weighing everything down, having that story page, it's an easy thing. You throw up a new web page and you put a picture. You can do it in blog form, or you can just do it on a web page, and just keep. Those don't have to go up every week or every 2 weeks. If you've got a story every month and a half, you know, I mean, and then you link it to your Facebook page and they have a new reason to go, keep those stories coming, because those are super important. Got to have the dynamic duo, text and story, or image both. Here's other thing that I don't know if you guys do, but this has been kind of recent for me. Don't edit their stories to death. I'm an editor. I'm going to make it concise. I'm going to bring it down, that 500-word article, to 350, because I know people will read 350 more than they will 500. But if you take the person whose life has been changed, if you take away their voice because you think it has to be well edited, don't do it. Let them speak in their own voice. That's really important. Yeah, so a quote that is on here that I really liked in terms of this this particular image is Charlotte Moss says, an empty room is a story waiting to happen, and you're the author. And I think that's kind of maybe the last big message that I want to give is don't miss stories that are happening in the moment to moment. Slice of life, slice of life. I went in the kitchen and the lasagna smelled so good and everybody was talking and we just had this really sense of the Holy Spirit in this room. That's a blog. That's the latest news. That's a Facebook. You know, really pay attention. And I know it's hard to do when we're all in the middle of putting out fires. But even don't think all your stories have to be happy ones. Sometimes you need to let your donors know there are challenges. Sometimes you need to let your donors know that you need their prayer or that a client needs their prayer. So don't always feel like you have to tell beginning, middle, end of the story. Engage them in the story as it happens. I think that that's super, super important. And you can do that across your website, across your Facebook, but keep your website active. And if you take one of these at a time, if you just say, okay, this Wednesday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to have somebody look at the website and say, how are our pictures doing page by page? Am I doing great on my Facebook or on my homepage? But on page 4 with my history, I've got 500 words about the history of the mission with no fun pictures. Then you know you've got a project, one piece at a time, one bite at a time. And really, each one of those improvements is going to be a huge difference. Small differences are huge differences. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Well, a picture speaks apparently 60,000 words. So, anything else you want to ask or talk about, or? And if you do want these slides,